Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that the secret to achieving every goal you've ever dreamed of doesn't lie in motivation, talent, or luck, but in one simple, powerful principle you can master? Today, imagine waking up every morning with unstoppable focus, clarity, and drive, and ending every day knowing you are inching closer to your dreams. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you 5 practical ways to stay consistent with your daily goals, and how these strategies can transform your life from ordinary to extraordinary, if you're willing to commit and show up day after day. Ladies and gentlemen, imagine for a moment that every day you wake up, you have a vision of the life you want to live. Not just a vague hope, but a clear picture of the person you want to become and the goals you want to achieve. Now ask yourself, how often do you actually follow through on that vision? How often do you start your day with purpose and end it having moved closer to the life you dream of? The truth is, consistency is not born out of talent or luck. Consistency is born out of understanding why you do what you do and having a system that supports your intentions. The first way to stay consistent with your daily goals is to start with why. Simon Sinek often reminds us that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. The same principle applies to your life. If your goals are shallow, if they exist only because someone told you they should, or because society dictates them, your motivation will falter at the first sign of challenge. But when your goals are connected to your purpose, something bigger than yourself, suddenly every morning becomes a chance to act, and every setback becomes a stepping stone. You don't need to push yourself, you need to remember why you started in the first place. The second way is to design a routine that makes consistency inevitable. We often think discipline is about sheer willpower, but willpower is finite. What is infinite is the structure you build around yourself. Create rituals, small habits, and specific time blocks dedicated to your goals. When your environment supports your intentions, when distractions are minimized and actions are mapped out, you no longer rely on motivation alone. Consistency becomes less about fighting yourself and more about following the rhythm you've created. Third, embrace accountability. Humans are wired to respond to relationships. When you share your goals with someone you respect, or even better, a group of like-minded individuals, you create a system of checks and balances. Accountability is not punishment, it's support. Knowing that someone else is witnessing your journey, cheering for you, or even expecting your progress, creates a natural drive to follow through. This is not about external pressure, it's about building a culture around your life that nurtures consistency. Fourth, focus on incremental progress, not perfection. Far too often we aim for massive leaps, and when we stumble, we abandon the effort entirely. But consistency is about showing up day after day, even when the results are small. Think of your daily goals as bricks, not buildings. Each day, lay one brick. Each day, take one step. Over time, these small, deliberate actions compound into something extraordinary. You don't need to be perfect, you need to be persistent. Small, intentional steps, repeated faithfully, are what transform dreams into realities. Finally, reflect and adapt. Staying consistent does not mean blindly following a plan. It means observing your progress, understanding what works, and being willing to adjust. Reflection allows you to identify the friction points, the habits that derail you, and the methods that propel you forward. Every evening, take a moment to ask, what did I do today that moved me closer to my goals? What distracted me? What can I improve tomorrow? This practice turns consistency from a mechanical effort into a conscious, evolving strategy. Consistency is not glamorous, it doesn't happen overnight. It is the quiet, deliberate commitment to your why, the structure you create, the accountability you embrace, the small steps you take, and the reflection that guides you. It is the invisible thread that weaves your daily actions into a life of purpose and achievement. It is the difference between fleeting inspiration and lasting impact. Consistency, at its core, is a mindset, and mindset is not shaped by circumstance but by choice. Every day you make hundreds of decisions, many of them small and seemingly inconsequential. But each one of these decisions is an opportunity to either reinforce your consistency or to erode it. The challenge is that consistency is not always exciting. it doesn't always give you the immediate gratification that our brains crave. The key is learning to find purpose in the process itself, to embrace the journey even when the outcomes are not yet visible. The people who succeed are rarely the ones who wait for perfect conditions. They are the ones who commit to showing up, rain or shine, moment by moment, action by action. Another essential aspect of staying consistent is learning to manage your energy, not just your time. Time is finite, yes, but energy is the fuel that allows consistency to take root. You cannot consistently pursue your goals if you are constantly drained, distracted, or emotionally depleted. This means paying attention to the rhythms of your body and mind. When are you most alert? When does your creativity peak? When do you feel the drive to push harder? Align your most important actions with your natural energy cycles. Protect your mornings, your focus blocks, and your rituals. Guard them as you would guard a treasure, because they are the moments when consistency is cultivated most effectively. Equally important is the ability to navigate obstacles without losing momentum. Life will test your commitment. Unexpected challenges, failures, and distractions are inevitable, but those who remain consistent do not view setbacks as the end of the road. They view them as signals, feedback that guides refinement. Think about it, a consistent person is not someone who never fails. It is someone who refuses to let failure define the trajectory of their life. They acknowledge mistakes, adjust their course, and continue moving forward. This resilience, this capacity to persevere, is what separates fleeting effort from lasting results. Consistency is not blind endurance. It is informed, adaptive persistence. It is also vital to celebrate progress, even the small victories, because recognition fuels motivation in a sustainable way. Too often, people wait for monumental milestones to acknowledge their efforts, but the truth is that these milestones are built on countless small wins that go unnoticed. Every day you achieve a task, overcome a temptation, or push yourself a little further, you are reinforcing the neural pathways of consistency. When you take the time to notice and appreciate these moments, you cultivate an internal environment that makes showing up easier. Your brain begins to associate effort with reward, not just at the end point, but throughout the journey. Furthermore, the language you use with yourself matters more than most people realize. If you tell yourself, "I can't," or "I'll start tomorrow," you are subtly eroding the foundation of consistency. But if you speak to yourself with clarity and commitment, if you say, "I will do this today," or "This action aligns with my purpose," you create a self-fulfilling prophecy. Your mind begins to expect action from you, and your behavior starts to align naturally with your intentions. Words are powerful, and when harnessed consciously, they can be the scaffolding that supports daily consistency. Another dimension to consider is the influence of your environment. We often underestimate how much our surroundings shape our habits. If you want to remain consistent, surround yourself with conditions, tools, and people that support your goals. Remove the distractions that tempt you away. Place reminders in your line of sight. Structure your spaces to make the right actions the easiest ones. Your environment can either be a silent saboteur or a quiet enabler. The choice is yours, but consistency favors the prepared. Finally, remember that consistency is cumulative. One day, 1 hour, one decision at a time, you are building something far larger than a checklist of tasks. You are building character, discipline, and trust in yourself. Each consistent action strengthens your identity, and your identity, in turn, strengthens your capacity to act consistently. You become the person who follows through, not because it is easy, but because it is who you are. This is the secret most people overlook. Consistency is less about the actions themselves and more about the person you become through those actions. It is the invisible force that turns intention into habit, habit into routine, and routine into a life defined by purpose and achievement. As you continue to build this life of consistent action, it becomes clear that patience is as critical as persistence. We live in a world obsessed with instant results, quick fixes, and overnight success stories. Yet consistency, by its very nature, is a long-term game. It requires a mindset that is comfortable with delayed gratification, that trusts the process even when the immediate outcomes are invisible. Every step you take today compounds over time, like drops of water carving a canyon. What seems insignificant in the moment, writing a page, making a phone call, completing a task, these small actions, repeated daily, shape your future in ways that are impossible to see in the present. To stay consistent, you must learn to value process over outcome and effort over applause. Equally, consistency thrives on clarity of vision. If your goals are scattered or vague, your actions will be scattered too. You need to define not just what you want to achieve, but why it matters and how it aligns with the life you are building. The more precise your vision, the easier it is to measure progress and make decisions that support it. Each day, remind yourself of this vision. Let it be the compass that guides every choice, every action. When you act with clarity, consistency becomes less of a struggle and more of a natural extension of your purpose. You are no longer chasing goals blindly. You are moving with intentionality, like an arrow guided by a skilled hand toward its target. Another principle to consider is the importance of ritualizing your actions. Humans are creatures of habit, and habits are the foundation of consistency. When you ritualize the actions that matter, you remove the daily debate over whether or not to act. You make the desired behavior automatic. Successful people don't rely on fluctuating motivation. They rely on habits embedded into their daily lives. This could be as simple as starting the day with a 10-minute reflection, setting a time to focus on a critical task, or ending the day reviewing what was accomplished. These rituals anchor you, creating a reliable rhythm that supports long-term consistency. Equally, it is essential to embrace the discomfort that often accompanies growth. Consistency is not always comfortable. In fact, it is frequently inconvenient, demanding, and sometimes frustrating. But this discomfort is not a signal to stop. It is a signal that you are stretching, that you are growing, that you are moving beyond your previous limitations. Consistency is about showing up even when it's hard, even when the temptation to quit whispers in your ear. By leaning into this discomfort, you build resilience, mental toughness, and an unwavering sense of self-trust that will carry you through challenges that would derail most people. An often overlooked aspect of staying consistent is the power of reflection. Taking time to pause, evaluate, and adjust is not a sign of weakness. It is a strategy for sustained growth. When you reflect, you gain insight into what is working, what is not, and where your energy is best spent. It allows you to course correct before small missteps become entrenched patterns. Reflection is a way to connect your daily actions to your larger purpose, ensuring that your effort is not just busy work, but meaningful progress toward the life you want to create. Another critical component is surrounding yourself with people who embody the consistency you aspire to achieve. Environment is more than physical space. It is social influence, the people you engage with daily, the conversations you have, and the energy you absorb shape your ability to remain committed. If you spend your time around individuals who are distracted, inconsistent, or dismissive of long-term effort, your own consistency will be eroded. But when you align yourself with those who value discipline, follow through, and purpose-driven action, consistency becomes infectious. It's not about imitation. It's about being inspired, challenged, and supported in ways that reinforce your daily commitment. Finally, understand that consistency is a reflection of identity. The actions you repeat every day are not just steps toward your goals. They are statements about who you are. Every time you choose to follow through, you reinforce the identity of a person who keeps promises, who takes responsibility, and who honors their purpose. Over time, this identity becomes self-reinforcing. You act consistently not because you have to, but because it is who you have become. The journey of consistency transforms you into someone capable of extraordinary results, someone whose daily actions align seamlessly with their deepest values, and someone whose life is a testament to the power of persistent, purposeful effort. As you continue to embody consistency, it becomes increasingly evident that self-compassion is an indispensable companion on this journey. Many people sabotage their efforts because they interpret setbacks as personal failures, as evidence that they are somehow inadequate or incapable. But consistency is not about perfection, it is about persistence in the face of imperfection. There will be days when you fall short, when distractions win, when energy wanes. On those days, the critical difference is not beating yourself up, but gently acknowledging the stumble, learning from it, and recommitting to your purpose. Self-compassion allows you to treat yourself as a partner in growth rather than an adversary, creating the emotional stability necessary to maintain long-term consistency. Another crucial element is the conscious management of focus. In a world filled with endless notifications, competing priorities, and constant demands on your attention, focus is the most underrated tool for consistency. Without it, even the most well-intentioned efforts are diluted and scattered. To stay consistent, you must actively choose what to focus on and, perhaps more importantly, what to ignore. This requires courage. The courage to say no to opportunities, distractions, and habits that do not align with your goals. It is a form of freedom because each refusal strengthens your capacity to commit deeply to what truly matters. Focus is not a luxury, it is the scaffolding that allows consistency to flourish. Equally important is the cultivation of curiosity and learning as part of your daily routine. Consistency is not a rigid repetition, it is a living, adaptive practice. As you engage with your goals, you will encounter new information, better techniques, and insights that can make your actions more effective. By approaching your daily work with curiosity, you turn each day into an opportunity to refine, improve, and innovate. This mindset transforms mundane repetition into an exciting process of discovery. You remain consistent, not out of obligation, but out of the thrill of learning, evolving, and witnessing incremental mastery. Another principle that sustains long-term consistency is celebrating identity-driven wins over outcome-driven wins. It is easy to become discouraged when results are slow or delayed, but the more you anchor your progress in identity, I am the type of person who shows up, who honors their commitments, who works steadily toward their vision, the less your motivation is tied to fluctuating external results. When your sense of self is aligned with your daily actions, consistency becomes internalized. You are no longer chasing fleeting success. You are living the values and behaviors that define the person you want to be. This shift from outcome to identity is the secret to unwavering consistency over years, even decades. Equally transformative is the practice of visualizing your future self. Each day, take a moment to imagine the person you are becoming through consistent action. See the discipline, the results, the character you are building. Visualization is more than wishful thinking. It primes your mind to align your actions with the reality you intend to create. Your subconscious begins to anticipate your consistent behaviors, making the daily effort feel less like a chore and more like a natural expression of the person you already are becoming. Visualization bridges the gap between intention and action, between present effort and future reality. Another factor that strengthens consistency is embracing accountability not just to others, but to yourself. Set explicit commitments and track them diligently. Measure your actions, review your progress, and hold yourself responsible for following through. External accountability can provide motivation, but internal accountability is what ensures sustainability. When you cultivate a sense of personal integrity where your actions consistently align with your words and commitments, you build trust in yourself, a trust that propels you forward even when external pressures fade. Internal accountability is the invisible engine that keeps consistency moving, even in solitude. Finally, understand that consistency compounds in unexpected ways. Each choice to show up, each deliberate action, each small commitment adds to an invisible bank of progress. You may not see immediate results, but over time, these deposits accumulate, creating momentum that carries you forward with increasing ease. The remarkable truth is that consistency not only builds skills and results, it transforms mindset, identity, and environment. You become someone who not only sets goals but also achieves them, someone whose life becomes a living proof of purpose, driven effort repeated day after day without fail, without reliance on temporary motivation, and without surrender to the fleeting distractions of the world around you.